So I'm gonna tell you something. I got Bogster to back me up. He's right at my feet right here hanging out. Are we gonna get trolled on this video? How can it be controversial when Bog gets to lick more fish? I deal in realities, dude. I wanna catch more fish. I wanna be more successful at fishing. I wanna learn things about fishing. And that means when it comes to all the FFS hoopla, I don't really care. I will fish old school, traditional. I will fish with forward-facing sonar. One of the things I also want to do is I want to help you guys catch more fish or show you things that I've learned to be more efficient and catch more fish. And there's a few mods and hacks that I've done with the front of my bass boat, my front of my Nitro Z20 XL, that I think a lot of the pros are doing, a lot of Toyota Series, BPT level, bass level, and it really makes you more efficient, because one of the biggest things about this whole like forward-facing and kind of like searching for fish kind of deal is being efficient, being fast, and it's just like flipping, dude. It's actually just like old school. The more drops you make, the more precise, the more on point, the more high percentage drops you make, more efficient means more fish. So hit that like and subscribe button. Look out for all the trolls. There's gonna be a lot of crap talking down in the comments, but like I said, I deal in realities, dude. I could care less. No one will be angry about forward-facing sonar when they know you get to lick more fish, right? We're gonna start with the juice. Simplest, easiest thing you can do to be more efficient. And you see Jordan Lee doing it, Hunter Schreirock. There's a million guys with these. And the fact is you gotta put a forward-facing pointer on your trolling motor. Some mount down on the lower part of the shaft, like my Ghost. Some actually mount like on the power pole move trolling motor. You can put them up here on the Minn Kota, I think it's that way. But the fact is, I don't care what trolling motor you have, the pointer arrow or the direction arrow is not perfect and can be improved upon. I have two on my boat, and there's a very good reason for it. This is an Evolution FFS pointer. Comes in like 30 bucks or something like that. And then I have the original. This is the C-Stick. My buddy actually makes this one. Comes in around 100 bucks or so. I have two because on the Ghost, I need to mount it down on the lower shaft that spins on the trolling motor. And sometimes you got to look on like the side of the boat to kind of catch it. So what it does is it allows me to kind of see that pointer no matter what angle, no matter how I have that shaft turned. It gives me kind of a view of those pointers. It almost gives me a lane to cast down versus just a pointed line. So it helps me to line up that angle, which is the most important thing aside from distance. And it makes it easier to kind of lay that line visually in your head across the water to that target. But 100%, if you're gonna play with this forward-facing stuff, the easiest, simplest, just most straightforward way you can be more efficient and faster is to put a pointer on your trolling motor. Looks like a damn Connect set. If you guys get that, you're a child of the 80s. So I have double transducers on the front end of the boat, and that's not exactly what this part is about. But I have a dedicated perspective mode or scout style mode. That's the LV62 or 64, I always forget the number. And then I have my ActiveTarget 2 for your standard forward facing. Not all guys are gonna run double transducers, right? That's just a reality. However, all guys are gonna wanna run a 0-degree style mount. I have a precision sonar one here. What it does is a lot of the mounts that come factory, like with your transducers, whether it's a Garmin, whether it's a Lowrance, they have a slight bend to them or a slight angle. What it does is it makes that transducer slightly off, so you're not getting, sometimes you'll like lose a fish, you know, as you're trying to track it, or you're kind of like your bait goes in and out, even though it's dead flat calm of that screen, and you're like, man, I'm tracking it right on and it's coming right back towards me. It gives you a little bit better bait tracking as well as fish tracking ability, and it just lines you up and makes your scope look clearer because it is 100% vertical. The other benefit, it allows you to adjust your transducer, and especially if you're running just one transducer, to switch between kind of looking at a pie-shaped kind of half of a 360 or looking in that forward vertical kind of slice of cake. It allows you to be quicker. It allows you to switch from one to one. Situations where it's different, you know, sometimes you're fishing for suspended fish, sometimes you're looking at like a grass bed and you're like, man, where are the holes in that grass, you know? Or you're looking for like little boulders on the bottom in that. So it allows you to pop that trolling motor out, make that change that on your Lowrance HDS or whatever, change the setting, and then all of a sudden you can look kind of in that perspective mode versus that forward-facing mode. And a lot of guys are doing that, especially for some of the shallow water fishing, where they're not actually tracking and catching fish off of forward-facing, but they're using it to sort of supplement kind of their more traditional approach and make them more efficient at the casts that they're making as they go down the bank. So let's take a look right here. I have my forward range set to 120 feet. I think between 100 and 120 is your juice. On the old Garmin and then the old single ActiveTarget, like the original, guys were going like 80 or 90. I think now you can go to 100, and especially with the way these fish are reacting, going further out, it can be a little harder to target the fish. It can be a little trickier to kind of line them up, but that longer cast is going to be more and more of a key moving forward. So the next thing, I do an auto down because I just don't want to deal with it. So mine just kind of pops around depending on the situation that we're in. I don't really care about that. It works fine. The only exception to that is if I'm in a situation where I'm only seeing fish like in the top like 10, 20 feet of water. That was happening kind of like last fall where they were up really high. I'll just set that to like 15 foot and just ride the train, right? Contrast. So this is a big one. I crank my contrast way up. My contrast is at 90. I think a lot of guys try to get way too finessey with this. Literally, all we're trying to do is see white dots, right? And then you can kind of like interpret how thick or how shaped the white dots are, but really, when it comes down to it, we're trying to see white dots. So let's clear the cursor. All right, so noise reduction. This is the biggest change with the latest update with Lowrance on the ActiveTarget 2. I used to run my noise reduction off. They've increased how like, I guess, how much pickup there is in the transducer, so you're actually able to see your bait better and see fish better. So I either put it at low or medium. Low if I'm in the grass, medium if I'm just like 100% offshore. The reason low in the grass is because I want to be able to see more chatter. I want to be able to see kind of little sneaky things. The Lowrance, the ActiveTarget 2 works better in the grass than the Garmin. I guarantee you, I see more fish slinking around in the grass than on the Garmin. It's 100% true. So other than that, I use the palette 5. I will sometimes go down to palette 3. That's like a yellowish palette. 5 is like a reddish palette. I just find that for my eyes and the contrast, that seems to be the best. I've played with 1 a little bit. Not a huge fan, but 5 or 3 seem to be my best play. Last thing I'll leave you with is, if possible, I know it's super expensive, and dude, the price and cost like on this stuff adds up. I 100% agree. I think the reality is, in a few years, as things kind of develop, it's just like computers, you know, they used to be so expensive and crazy. I think as things kind of move forward, and Lowrance already did it, I believe, with that Elite FFS, it's sort of like a consumer level, entry level kind of forward facing, the prices are gonna go down. And it needs to happen. These boats are getting crazy expensive. The way you need to rig them up to actually compete in tournaments is getting crazy expensive, so there needs to be kind of a balancing act that occurs. But if possible, I'd highly recommend running your forward facing on a lithium, and if you can pull it off, on a dedicated lithium. And what I mean by that is something that doesn't run to your live well pumps, that doesn't run to your, you know, your recircs, your bilge, all that kind of other stuff. That's 100% dedicated for that forward facing. It just leads to your best situation when it comes to interference. It reduces any kind of issues, any kind of bumps or kind of weird voltage issues, or any kind of just like chatter that you get in there. It's just a smart way to go. Hope you guys enjoyed this. If you guys got any tips and tweaks, I'm always down with being more efficient and learning kind of things, and I know a lot of guys have some little sneaky things they do. Drop them down in the comments box. These are just like the little things that I've learned from like my buddies Jacob, you know, some of the other kind of like pro guys and upper echelon guys that I respect and are really good with forward facing, and I've kind of implemented them on my boat, and they make me more efficient. Maybe not better, but more efficient. But there's just a few little things, super simple things that you can do, especially that pointer. I'll put a link to it down in the description box, that literally will help you be faster, catch more fish, and just make more high percentage drops. And that's 100% what this is about. So look for all the trolling down in the comments, because guys are gonna hate on this video, but like I said, I keep it real. I want you to catch more fish. I want to catch more fish. I want Bog to lick more fish. And I like forward facing. It teaches me stuff, but doesn't mean I'm not going to fish OG style. Later, boys. Hit that like and subscribe button for me.